Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we've got another deck list. This will be for the Cell Surge leader. Been playing a lot of this leader, really like him, and I think he's a lot better than people are making him out to be. There's a little of like awkward things that he has going for him, but there's also a bunch of things that like the leader itself is not very strong by itself, but I feel like it can enable a lot of things just because it's a Cell Android leader and has a lot of synergy like that. So what does this guy do? So it has this active main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one card among them, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck, and if you add a card to your hand, choose one card from your hand and place it in your drop area. This is super duper good. Just being able to look at the top 5 for anything means that this leader can be really consistent in being able to find the pieces you need for your combo. And then for the Surge, it's 1 green and 1 yellow, and it's an untap 2 draw 2 leader, which is also the first like untap 2 Cell leader we have as well, so that's very valuable. And then on the Awaken side, it has activated once per turn. If your life is at 4 or less, choose one card on this card, place in your opponent's drop area, choose one, either until the start of your next main phase. If your opponent plays a battle card is played in rest mode, that is very valuable. It means that if you don't have anything on your opponent's side of the field, they only have their leader swing really to do anything, and you can do that for 2 turns. That can really stall out. Or there's also just the more immediate one where you can just choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, KO it, then choose one card in your opponent's hand and place it in their drop area. You get to choose the card as well. It's not your opponent's choice, which is that's always the best choice. Worst case, it's just as good as having your opponent drop a card. So this is really good for like late game, making sure they don't have any resources left. So like that leader, if you notice, he doesn't gain advantage on either side, and that can be a bit of a problem. But there are ways to make it where you technically gain advantage by giving your opponent a lot of negative advantage, and we're just going to step into the cards. So I talked that this is the OG the OG chain. So we've got one of these growing evil life form cells because we can only run one, and then for the so we need some Android 18s. So we're using, I'll put the correct one on the screen because it's not out yet, but it's the 1-drop 17 from the star deck. It acts as like a counter attack, and then also when you play it, you put one Android card with an energy cost of 4 or less from your deck into your drop area, which is pretty good. Honestly, I think that's a good effect, and being able to do that is nice. And then for our 5-drop, we've got the Evolving Evil Life Form Cell. Pretty standard there. And then for our 18 targets, we've actually got 7 of them. So we've got 3 of the new Championship 18 Perfections Play. Or is that right? Perfections Prey. Yeah, okay. So this one's really unique. So it's an energy exhaust for sure, but permanent. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, reduce the combo cost of this card in your hand and battle area by 1. And since we're always going to have like not a lot of cards in hand, this can be like a free 10k combo a lot of the time, and it's multicolor. And activate for 1 green. If your leader card is a Cell card and you have a Cell card in your battle area, play this card for your drop area. You can't play another one for the duration of the turn. But just being able to play this for free from your drop area is a fantastic effect, and it's kind of how you can generate value. A lot of this deck generates value by playing stuff from the drop area or doing stuff with cards that are in the drop, which we can also do very easily by the unawakened side where you just pitch cards in the drop. So that's really important. I think this is a really good effect. And we also have the new 18 super combo as well. The deck space is a little bit thin, so being able to use an 18 as just some super combos as well helps fit some stuff into the deck. But this is also just a fantastic super combo, being able to neg cards from an opponent's hand. And if we go into perfect force Cell and they only have 3 cards in hand, we can use like 2 super combos and then they don't have any, and then our leader effect, and then they have no cards in hand, right? That's like the idea a lot of the time. Can be really oppressive, but yeah, that's pretty much the chain there. But the other thing that makes this deck really unique, so part of the reason that this could be maybe inconsistent is that there's only one of these 3-drop growing evil life form cells. We do get to search, essentially 3 times for it on the top 5 of our deck, so it's not impossible. But if it's like, stuck in our life or something, we're never going to see it, right? So, alternatively, what I've put in this deck is I've put in 4 of these Cell's Birth. So if you don't remember what this card does, this is from set 2 as well, but it's a field card, and it has this permanent... if your leader card is Cell, reduce the energy cost of all Cell in your hand by 2, and then when you play a Cell card, place this card in the drop area. So what that means is that this has 2 specific green energy, but it becomes a 1-drop, and also the 5-drop becomes a 3-drop. So what you can do is that you can play this on turn 1, turn 2, just play a couple cards for defense, and then turn 3, instead of having to go into this guy, you can just go straight into this guy with Cell's Birth, which is very powerful. Still, like it's still like the old Cell Chain, the fact that you get to get it off on turn 3, but you just get to do it a little bit more consistently, and the fact that you're able to look for missing pieces that you need in your chain 3 times. I've never not had a time where I couldn't find everything I need. I felt like this leader made it really consistent to find the pieces and get this out on turn 3. So there is that. The other thing to worry about is, compared to like back then, there are a lot of the extra card counters, like Preemptive Strike, Denial of Hope, and because Cell's Birth reduced the energy cost of it by 2, this still is a 3-drop when you play it, so it is susceptible to it. So the workaround that for this deck is we're running 4 of these Broly Arrival cards and also 3 of these Khalifa. So if we're going first and our opponent is doing nothing and they just have 2 energy open, you can use one of these Khalifas, or you can swing in, and with this Broly you can tap down one of their energy. And both these cards gain advantage when they do it too. This lets you take a card from your life, and this card lets you draw 1 when you tap something. Then they're only going to have 1 energy. If you do it on your opponent's turn with Broly, then you're set to go on turn 3. But if you do it on your own turn, then you can still just awaken with this leader whenever you want. And then if you do awaken with Cell, then you just flip it over, untap 2, you have 3 energy again, and then you can just go right back into the 5-drop and then into the 7-drop. So that's very powerful. If you're going second, it's not as easy sometimes. It depends on the deck as well, but I feel like this is probably like one of the most consistent ways to get off this Cell Chain and kind of this meta as well. Alright, so extra cards from there. This is not the correct card, but this could be a really nice card. The real one will be on screen, but it's the new Cell from the tournament pack. It's a 9-drop Cell that comes into play when an android with an energy cost of 7 or more is sent to the drop area. You get to play it from your hand for free, and then also blow up a 5 cost or less on your opponent's side of the field, which is fantastic because then it's a 9-drop, and then you can go right into the actual 9-drop Cell Unthinkable Perfection. This card can just win games by itself, being able to... Let me just read it. So when you play it with Successor, if your leader card's an android card, your opponent reveals their hand, choose up to 3 battle cards in their hand, place them in their owner's drop area, then choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards and negates non-keywords goes for the duration of the turn. Both these effects can just mean that you go in, and this is a big 30k triple strike. So if they have a bunch of like 1-drop negates in their hand, or like super combos, and you know they're already going to be at like low hand cost already, since you just set them to 3, this can be a fantastic way to just finish the game and go from there. Make sure they only have like 2 cards left in hand, and then you can use your leader effect to just drop the last one as well, then you're safe to go in. Very powerful. And then also we have the Cell Xeno, just because we have the cards for it. Shout out to Joseph for letting me borrow this, by the way. But we just have so many ways we can get this out with just a 9-drop, and then just play another 3-drop and you're in there. Or the stereotypical, if you just play 2 of these Brolys with a rival, they can get it out for free as well. Not needed in this deck, but definitely a good win more card, and it's just really oppressive as well. We're going into 3 of these Great Ape Son Gokus. We're running yellow, and also you'll find that there will be a lot of turns that you have just a bunch of energy up and you don't know what to do. So using these to draw more cards is great, and you can just put these in your drop area for free. You can use the top 5 effect, look at it, find an ape, and just put it in your drop area. Very good effect, and then this just helps out the deck so much. These are either Roshis, or they could also be the new Bardock card, which is pretty much the same thing. But the Bardock lets you use it for your Awakened Surge. So it's really fringe effect, and I bet doing Roshi's is just as good. But since we do need some more negates, but we also need some cards for Arrival and all that, I think these are good cards for that. But I think you're probably better off using the Bardocks as well. But there's that. We also have 2 Mutaidos. We're not... chances are we're not going to be charging a multicolor energy. We may be doing it turn 1, but we're not. So we're going to have consistency for Champa. This card's just good for defense in case we're playing it something that can drop something really early. This leader will probably protect us a bunch of the time anyways, because you can just put everything in rest. But this is just a good alternative in case you're worried about something. Once again, not super needed, but the fact that it's a yellow card that can also do negate stuff is really nice. Next up, we've got 3 of these Android 15s, and we don't have... I kind of went back and forth on what I wanted to run on here. You could also run the Sun Gohan, Master, and Pupil. Both these cards kind of do the same thing of where they're able to just self-awaken you. We don't have any self-awaken in this deck besides the last two cards, which are Shocking Death Balls. But both these cards can help awaken you and get a 3-drop in the field for later, successor stuff. So it's really what you pick. I would highly consider putting the other one in the side deck as well. But this is better if you're playing against a deck that's aggressive, and this is better against a deck that is really defensive. They're not going to be attacking your leader until they really go off. This is a good card to get value and self-awaken at the same time, and this is good for getting value and defending at the same time. So it's just what you want. If you don't have this card, this is fine by itself, but I think this is a good alternative or something to think about as well. And that's really it. That's the whole deck. 2 Shocking Death Balls as well, because we need Sparking against Green Gohan. But yeah, this is really consistent, and as long as you're not playing second against a deck that has like a bunch of like Denial of Hopes and everything, you're fine. And even if that's the case, you're probably fine to just play. You have to unfortunately like bait out the like Cell's Birth goes into effect no matter what, so you have to pay the full cost. But if you're playing against like a green deck that only has preemptive, this gets around preemptive if you play the 5 cost by itself. So there are ways around it as well, and you just have to. So if you're playing against a deck that you're gonna not be able to use Cell's Birth for, just side these out for something and just go right into the 5-drop. You can probably be defensive enough for it, and really there's enough search with your leader that's not unlikely you find the 3-drop anyways. I don't know. There's just a lot with this deck. I think it's good, and if you have the cards, you should try it out. And it's just been a lot of fun for me. So let me know what you guys think about this list. It's also just going to be in the description below. If you're just skipping to the end, think I'll lay out the cards. So check it out there if you want. And yeah, that's going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.